part of your day. Jordan Schultz filling in for J-Mac, who's on vacay. He'll be back next week. And so the camps open up on Saturday. Baltimore Ravens do. You get some rookies. But we're getting close. The veterans don't have to show up yet. We're getting close. 7 of the last 10 Super Bowl champs have been AFC. Last year, AFC versus NFC. AFC won 46 and lost 34. The NFL choosing its first game of the season chose the Chiefs and the Ravens, AFC. So it does feel like here at Fox, we primarily have NFC. It feels like it is tilted toward an AFC sport over the last 5 or 6 years. A lot of that is the bad teams had high draft picks, and a lot of them hit on quarterbacks. Houston, Cincinnati with Burrow, Kansas City wasn't a bad team. Alex Smith got them to the playoffs. But you have a lot of AFC teams that were bad or took a swing on a quarterback, and they all hit. Jacksonville, Justin Herbert to the Chargers, who now has Jim Harbaugh, Trevor Lawrence. C.J. Stroud was surprisingly good right out of the chute. So in the NFC, for years and years, didn't have a real bottom. You'd have Washington underachieving, Lions for years and years. But AFC, they've hit in a lot of quarterbacks. And this is a coach-quarterback league. If you have the coach and the quarterback, you can have flaws everywhere. As long as you're not horrific on the offensive line and your quarterback's not under siege on most snaps. And so I do feel like the NFC is drawing closer to the AFC in the coaching quarterback combination. But it's still AFC over NFC. My top 10, if I gave you a top 10 AFC, NFC quarterback combination, the first one's an easy one. That's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, highest win percentage by any quarterback coach combo in the Super Bowl era. That's an easy one. He's the great play designer, a clever play caller, and Mahomes right now is the most gifted quarterback potentially ever, but certainly playing right now. Number 2, I'd go McVay and Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford, because of his years in Detroit, was overlooked. Next to Mahomes, maybe the best arm talent in the league. Sidearm, does everything but throw it left-handed. Big over-the-top arm. I think McVay may be the smartest coach, period, in the sport. I'd put him at 2. I'd go John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson 3. Bottom line is they've won 10-plus games and reached the playoffs in 5 or 6 years. Listen, Lamar is different, and you're going to have a different offense with him. But if you can win 75% of your games, especially in the AFC North, to be that good perpetually, I'd put them 3rd. I'd put Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert 4th. Now, a little bit of that is a projection. I think Herbert's a remarkable talent, and there's an argument to be made. College and pro, Jim Harbaugh's the best coach on the planet. So I would put them 4th in the coach-quarterback combo. I would put Sean McDermott, Josh Allen 5th. And I think we all know Josh is probably, even more so than Mahomes, just physically on a different planet. Size, speed, arm strength. There's just nothing like Josh Allen in the world, including Mahomes. I think the misgivings we have sometimes, defensive coaches in big playoff games against offensive coaches we worry about. But they've got 4 straight division titles. They're obviously a very good football organization. So I would say 4 of the top 5 are AFC. Okay, so that right off the top, once again, it's the AFC. You can argue about the order after Reid and Mahomes, certainly. I would go to the next 5, and I start with another AFC team, Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. Now listen, Bengals have reached at least the AFC Championship in any year Joe Burrow's been healthy. Now, I do believe he is one injury away from real adult conversations on looking to draft another quarterback at some point, maybe not a first-round pick. But now this is his first year without offensive coordinator Brian Callahan, who's the Titans head coach, so that'll be a little interesting. Then, starting at number 7, I feel like the NFC teams are on the come. Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love would be number 7. I'd like to see a little bit more of Jordan Love, but the last 10 games of the year, the kid was on fire. And I'll give Matt LaFleur a lot of credit. When Aaron Rodgers was there, I felt like it was Aaron's offense and Aaron's team. I thought last year Matt LaFleur could really flex. I thought he was really clever. I loved his game plans. I loved his alterations at half. I thought Matt LaFleur really established himself as a top 5-6 coach in the league. Number 8, Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Listen, they've won 12 games each of the last 3 seasons. Nobody else in the league has done that. McCarthy's a good, solid coach. Dak's a solid. You can argue they're both B+. But that gives you number 8 in the NFL. We want more in January. Number 9, I'd probably go Tua and Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's sort of Kyle Shanahan West. Very clever. When Tua's healthy, there's an argument this is the Breeze-Sean Payton relationship. Tua's accurate. Do I think he can go up in cold weather to Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati if it's 13 degrees and windy? Do I think he can go toe-to-toe with a Mahomes or a Josh Allen? No, I do not. But you don't have to play those guys much. Cross your fingers, the weather goes your way. Number 10, I'd do Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell, in my opinion, can be a little bit too much led by emotion sometimes. I don't love all of Dan Campbell's situational coaching. Highly emotional guy. I wish he was a bit more restrained. But I've been saying this about Jared Goff for years. Throws one of the prettiest balls in the league. The Lions have winning records in back-to-back years. If I had to go 11, I'd go Shanahan and Brock Purdy. So I could say the bottom 6 through 11, there's a lot more NFC representation. But I still think, by and large, the AFC at the top, 6 of the top 10 quarterback coaching combinations. We're not going to argue with Reid and Mahomes. Everything after that you can argue about. And with that, Deion Dawkins, 3 Pro Bowls, highest graded Buffalo Bill offensive lineman every year he's been there. 7 seasons, all with the Bills in Buffalo. 6-time playoff performer. Good to see you again, my friend. Nice to have you in. It's interesting because I always said this about Phil Mickelson. Because he played in the era of Tiger Woods, you just don't understand how good Phil Mickelson was. It's the same with Akeem Olajuwon. If there's no Michael Jordan, Akeem could have 4 titles. I saw him go toe-to-toe with Shaq and at times really give Shaq a problem. So you guys just happen to be in the era of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and you feel like sometimes you want to say, hey, everybody, we're winning like 10 games a year. We're good over here. That you sometimes get criticized because you're just not beating it. Maybe the best coach-quarterback combination in the history of the sport.
I think in the era that we're in now, there's a lot of great players all over this league. It's an offensive league now. Yeah. It's a passing league. It's an offensive league. It's a quarterback-driven league. And I think there's a lot of great players all around. Yes, we are thankful to be playing in the time that we're playing because we're playing with some of these guys that are putting up numbers that we haven't seen. And the money's good. And the money's great. The money is great when it's great. And then it changes, and then it's great, and then it changes, and then it's great, so yeah. Yeah. My take on Stephon Diggs was, it was time. Loved him. I said this about Klay Thompson. It was time. It's pro sports. There's salary caps. Yeah. And I also think Keon Campbell's great. And I also think by getting the kid out of Utah, the tight end with Dawson Knox, Cook, Josh, I think you're fine. I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think you'll be fine. There was a lot made about the drama. I like Stephon, but I did think it got verbal. You'd see some stuff where, he was unhappy. When you heard he was moving on, what was your take? It was okay. It was more so more so just a deep breath. It was just like, all right, Steph was a great teammate. Steph is probably one of the best teammates that I've had. Seeing how he prepares for a game, how he treats his teammates, how he executes his passion. And I think what the world mistakes of what they're calling drama is just the passion that he has for the sport. I don't expect anybody to be happy with losing. And we're all not frantic, but we're all at that height of emotions. It's an emotional sport. Yeah. And Steph is an emotional guy for the things that he loves, and football is one of those things. And I think we're gonna miss him. We love him, and if it was time, Brandon Beane has all those keys. We don't control any of that. I was sad to see him go, but I'm happy to see him smile. And he's smiling, and he'll be a great player wherever he goes. And I'm just glad that we got to take a shot at it with Steph. And
Yeah, it's interesting. Deion Dawkins, Bills offensive lineman, highest graded lineman Buffalo's had all years he's been there.